we're back with our transition to the big diamond, and our focus is on
Defense.
defense. Yeah. So we did hitting previously. We did kind of a intro to transition from Little League to the big diamond, and now we're focused on defense, which is probably where I think the biggest challenges are. We're not going to go over everything today,
Yeah.
but we do have the cheat codes.
Legal cheat codes.
Legal cheat
Okay.
codes for
All right.
coaches and parents and players, and so the kids kind of know how to prepare for the big diamond, because we know they're going to get frustrated.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, let's take a look, like the 20,000-foot view. So what are the first things that come to mind? You mentioned a couple of them in terms of the transition on defense for the little guys.
Well, yeah, as as the field gets bigger, you're not making the same throws. They're longer throws now, so you have to set your feet. I think that's a big problem we saw.
Right.
As kids were making that transition, was not setting their feet, getting enough momentum towards their target,
Right.
not communicating enough.
You mentioned that to start. That's so huge on the Little League field. There's not a lot of communication. And here,
Yeah.
there's going to be a ton of communication,
Has to be.
because you're trying to set yourself in position to get outs. And so you're going to have to, outfielders are going to have to communicate with each other. They're going to have to communicate with the infield. Infield's going to have to communicate with the outfield. Pitchers have to communicate when they want to pick. Catchers have to communicate when they're doing back picks. I mean, there's just so much to it.
Definitely, yes. With that is footwork, getting. I mentioned gaining momentum, crow hops, and shuffle steps become
Right.
more critical for infield and outfield. Catchers need to be quicker behind the plate.
They
When I
do.
caught, I had to learn that the one hop was just part of the game in the first year making that transition. That's part of that longer throw.
Right.
I think it took about a year, right, before I could get it on a line, on a fly.
Yeah, and you had one of the stronger arms for this age group that transitions to the big field.
For sure.
So I tell you what, you played catcher and outfield. You played a little bit of third base too. But let's talk about outfield to start. So what comes to mind? What are the first things that come to mind with playing defense in the outfield on the big field, the big diamond?
Positioning, it's really important. Setting yourself up for success is reading the ball off the bat and knowing where you sit in the outfield, as opposed to where the infield is in front of you and the fence is behind you,
Right.
and your
Most of the outfielders
other
this
outfielders.
age
Yeah.
are going to be shallow,
Yes.
right? So if you're shallow and the ball gets behind you, that's when things can really go awry.
Really take a turn. Take some
They could
180.
take a turn, because then you're setting up for, which we'll get into, the
double cut.
the double cut,
tandem cut.
the
some like to
tandem
call
relay.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So outfield play, a lot of it's about what? Angles.
Angles, getting behind fly balls.
Right. So
reading-
positioning yourself
position-
behind the fly.
Yes.
Talk about that.
Well, as the ball gets hit higher, and reading the ball becomes a lot more of a challenge, because you think you might have more space than you do
Right.
when you're in the outfield, but sometimes it's not a lot.
Right.
It's a lot more than you think.
Right.
So reading that is important. Getting
Bigger
behind,
kids, bigger fly balls.
yes, getting behind it, thinking I got to get behind it even more than I think.
And why do you have to get
used
behind
that? So you can work through the baseball,
Work through the baseball and make throws.
especially with guys on base.
Right. Again, Little League, you're catching a fly ball. You could catch it going back, turn and fire, and your arm's probably going to be strong enough to get it to any base. Whereas in this scenario, if you're not working through the baseball and setting your feet and all those things, you're going to make a poor throw. And what happens when you make a poor throw on the big diamond?
They just keep running. They don't stop.
They just keep running. They
Yeah.
don't stop. So outfield is about, angles. It's about reading the ball off the bat better, right? You have to be able to go back on a ball. You should be
Finding
playing
defense too.
finding the fence for the big guys. Every once in
Yeah.
a while, you get some big guys,
When
right?
you play deeper, it's a little bit easier. But
For
yeah.
sure. 14-year-old guys will hit it.
For
12
sure.
and 13-year-old guys, they won't hit it to the fence usually.
It's a good point. Yeah.
Unless you're Prince Fielder Jr. or one of those guys.
Yeah.
Right. So what else? What else on the outfield sticks out in terms of maybe backing up or?
Backing up your other outfielders is important now too, and the infielders. Being active, staying active with your feet, and I mentioned the first thing was reading it off the bat. So if you immediately see that there's a ball, say I'm playing right field, you're playing center field, there's a ball in right center gap, and center fielder's going to get there first. Me as a right fielder, I need to help back you up if it kicks off, takes a wild hop off the fence, or is rolling around there, and then maybe I can grab it and get it back into the cut man. There's that. There's the pickoffs from first, or from the pitcher throwing over to first that a right fielder needs to back up and start moving on.
Right.
There's a lot. I mean, backing up is crucial out there. You don't want to get stuck caught flat-footed.
You don't, because as soon as they miss a throw, which they're going to,
yes,
if you're not backing up, if you're not anticipating backing up, like you said, it's like a circus. They just circle the bases.
We've seen it so many times. Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully you don't see it as much towards the end of the season when you're practicing these things over and over again, because they come to the big diamond with bad habits.
Yes.
Talk about habits.
Exposed bad habits.
The big field exposes bad habits.
It does. It really does. Not so much the skill, because I think skilled players, can adapt, but still will get frustrated. Right. I mean, it's inevitable. But
yeah, I think sometimes the more talented players that aren't as skilled, they just get by on talent, they become more frustrated than anybody.
Yeah, I've seen that for sure.
I've seen big guys who are like strong, they got some talent, big arm, big bat, but then all of a sudden they're making errors that they didn't make before.
Yeah, adaptability is really important. It's something that if you keep letting the frustration get to you, then you'll never really make those changes.
Right. Talk a little bit. You mentioned this about tandem cuts. Tell us why they're so important and what a tandem relay is.
A tandem relay, double cut, as some like to call them as well. It's usually when it's for sure double, triple, to the fence, big hitter up usually, hits it off to the wall, and everybody's breaking in the outfield to get to it. And it's usually your second shortstop. They are going out and taking the cut, with one of them being a relay man and one the primary cut. One
of them really being a trailer.
Yes.
Right. So
trailer,
just to be clear, like, you can have a double cut without a tandem or a trailer.
Yeah.
But that's not advisable. And it's not advisable because why? Like, what happens when they miss that first cut?
The first cut, they start running around again.
Right. Yeah. So just to be clear, you're taking your shortstop and your second baseman.
And that's a bad habit.
Right. You're taking your shortstop and your second base. When the ball's hit to the fence, it's a short double.
Yes.
So you're trying to, if you had a runner on first, you're trying to prevent that runner from first from scoring.
Yes.
And then you're trying to prevent the batter from a triple.
Yeah, it's a field. The outfielder and second and short will immediately, well, most of the second and shortstop, they'll know, seeing how far it gets out there. If play it again, I'm playing right field and you're center field, if I cut it off before we let it get to the fence, then second and short can see that and they can adjust. That's kind of the adjustment.
That's the communication.
Yes, that's the communication.
So they'll communicate. That's a good point. The infielders will communicate if they feel like they don't need, like maybe they can prevent a double. Because if you cut it off and it's before the fence and you feel like you can prevent it, then one of them has to go back to second.
Yeah.
So lots of communication. But let's stick to the tandem. So now you got a ball to the fence, right field. Okay, right fielder gets it, throws it to the second baseman, misses the second baseman. Now the shortstop, if he is in the tandem, he's about 15, 20 feet behind the second baseman. Mm-hmm. He reads
not
that
right close to him.
Right. Can't be close because then it'll go by both of them.
For sure.
So he's got to be about 15, 20 feet or more behind him. So now the outfielder makes a throw. Let's say he makes a throw 95 feet from the fence to the second baseman. The second baseman now, let's say the guy, there was nobody on and they're trying to prevent a triple. Okay. So then he's got to get that ball, either cut it or send it to third, right? In left field, again, same thing. Shortstop, though, goes out. Second baseman trails behind him 15, 20 feet.
Yep.
Okay. And the third baseman kind of comes off the bag to either cut the ball for home or races back to third for a play at third. So, again, that's where communication comes in.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put something in the description that outlines this for coaches and parents.
Yeah.
It's really simple, but the tandem relay system has to be learned at this age.
And there's like details in this. Like, as this is all going on, the catcher should be shouting which which cut and
Right.
which base it's going to. The cuts are calling for the baseball. The outfielders, the details there. I was just thinking about that we hadn't talked about yet. What happens when those bad habits kick in from the little field?
Right.
You might grab it with your glove, lose a couple seconds of
Right.
time where you need to push the ball into the ground, find the forcing grip, and get it into the cut as quickly as you can.
Right.
When you see a quick, efficient tandem cut, you're like, wow,
They know what
they've
they're
practiced that a lot. Yeah.
Yes, because it doesn't just come naturally.
It doesn't,
You
yeah.
have to practice it. That's a really good point. And if you don't practice those things, you're going to lose games because of it.
The World Series 2 years ago.
The World Series
Our
2
poor
years
Yankees.
ago. Yeah. So Shohei, for those of you who didn't see it, Shohei hit one off the wall, and our right fielder, I say ours, like I'm playing for the Yankees. He turned and fired.
You're not playing for the Yankees?
I'm not playing for the
Yeah,
Yankees. I should. But he turned and fired and missed. Volpe was out there, and then Glaber, I think, was there at the time, and he missed it.
Yeah.
And then they went to third. So now
Bad communication.
a fly ball scored him, and they won by 1 run. So
Yeah.
you have even these issues at the highest levels, but you have to practice them. So
Gotta practice them,
so that's a big deal,
Yes.
right? So communication. You mentioned the catcher. The catcher's involved. He sees the whole field. Right, so he's going to be involved in where he wants the ball ultimately, whereas the other guys are communicating, backing up. Tell me one thing that you usually see. I'm gonna put you on the spot. One thing that you usually see with the guy who's taking the cut. What is the one major thing that you constantly see they make a mistake at? Taking the cut
Taking the cut.
from the outfielder.
It's usually they don't have their hands ready for the cut. Is that
Yeah,
Kind of-
that I was thinking more their feet. So
the feet,
so
the
they
footwork,
stay. They almost like feel like they're in cement. They
Flat-footed,
don't
yeah.
move. So what we tell young players are expect a bad throw.
Yeah.
Be on the move. Have your feet ready, because if that outfielder, the young outfielder, is throwing the ball 95, 100 feet, he's going to be a little bit offline.
Yeah.
So you don't want to catch a ball in an in between hop. Either catch it on a fly, preferable.
close enough?
Catch it on a short hop, not as preferable. A long hop is fine.
Yeah.
But just don't stand there and let that ball eat you up, because then you can't get it.
Right. If you're gonna take the short hop, just scoop it and get
Right.
your throwing hand ready.
Right. So now let's move. So outfield, obviously backing up bases, backing up each other, communicating. Center field can even communicate. If the shortstop doesn't have his hands up, where to throw the ball. So there's a lot of communication there. Then the infielders, as we talked about, are going to communicate when someone has to go back to second base, possibly, or when the third baseman has to go back to third for a play at third.
Might be trying to find the highlight reel where they're trying to make the long throw.
Right. So let's talk about the other communications that the infielders make. You
Yeah.
mentioned a few. You mentioned picks, but let's go to just before the pitch even starts. What are the infielders communicating to each other in terms of right before the pitch starts?
Where the ball's going.
Before that.
Who's covering.
Before that, well, who's covering the pitch?
The pitch, yeah. It's usually their prep step. That's usually what they got to be ready for even before the pitch has started.
And what are they doing to each other in terms of telling each other fastball or curveball or whatever?
Usually trying to see what the pitch is or where the pitch is located with the catcher setting up.
Right.
So that way they can move left or right on the pitch. Usually the whole infield is shifting a little bit left when, or they're moving left when they're setting up away
So
on a
how
righty.
do they communicate? They can't yell it out, because then they're telling the hitter what's going on.
Little codes, we can do like 1-1-1 or like just
A lot of times
shout
they'll hold their glove up, mouth open would be curveball, no mouth open would be fastball. So they might
and
hold
teams
it up.
have their own, they have their own
Keep
thing
hitting
for
my
it.
mic. But you know what I mean? Like they'll put the glove up and they'll
There's
open their
little
mouth.
things they can do. Yeah, they
Usually
got to talk about it.
signaling is usually nonverbal in the infield,
Yeah.
right? It's usually like you're giving him some sort of a cue.
However you've established it, it should be everybody's on the same page. All
Right.
4 or 5 guys. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's important, because if you know that it's going to be a curveball to the inside to a righty, you might shade one way or the other, right? You might shade to pull. Same thing with a fastball to the outside. If you know a ball is coming to the fastball outside, you might shade a certain way.
For sure.
So the communication between the middle infielders, it will make or break your season.
In reading the hitters.
And reading the hitters.
If they are able to read hitters and know what guys' tendencies are after the first time they've been through, those are like the elite teams. Those are the guys that kind of see things that are going to happen before they even happen.
Right.
So
So we can't emphasize communication enough. The manager, their coach on the bench is communicating certain things, like maybe if it's first and second, right, and he has the first baseman playing behind, the runner, he might do something like this and then like that, which means like play behind the runner, but play close enough to where if you wanted to do a back pick, you could. So there's a lot of hand signals. Right?
Back, forward, shift right, shift left.
Right. And I think, you're giving them some verbal cues, maybe play, double play depth, which again, for the little leaguers is really, really hard. We see them playing way too far in the infield. They don't trust their arms.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little about the arms now. So what is the big mistake you see that the young guys make in terms of trying to make throws, whether it's on the infield or the outfield?
It's not setting the feet and making a good, clean, accurate throw, even if it's a long one hopper.
And they all, right. Well, to say that, they all want to throw in the air. And what did you just say?
They're like lollipops or rainbows.
Right. That's what Johnny likes to use that term. Lollipops and rainbows. We see
like
it
a rainbow. Yeah.
We see it all the time. And so you said they can do what?
A long, good one hopper.
Listen, that throw from third base to first base is over 100 feet.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a long throw.
Catcher to second. Long.
Catcher to second is 127 feet.
Yeah.
So we tell our catchers, don't feel like you have to get it there on a fly. Yeah. If you're a little bit older, a little bit stronger, that's fine. But one hopper to second base, as long as you're efficient with your footwork and getting rid of it quickly, one hopper skips right into that awaiting infielder's glove.
Works just as good as on the fly.
It does.
Yeah.
Almost as good.
Almost.
But if you watch a major league game, you'll see guys that skip them. You just have world-class guys picking it.
Yeah.
Which you won't have.
Scoopers attached to their left hand.
Which, again, is important. So lots of communication on that. The picks are very different. We're talking about big diamond defense. I mean, you don't really have in Little League the type of,
if they even
pick
take,
plays.
if even they take a lead, right?
Right. Some Little Leagues don't take a lead, or some pony league. We're talking about the big diamond anyway. So you've got
what guys taking leads,
right? So we've got how many different picks at second base?
We talked about the wheel play, the daylight play.
The wheel play is the bunt one.
Sorry, not the wheel play. Yes,
the daylight play, the timing play,
flashing.
Yeah, the shortstop could flash his arm and want, like, if the daylight play is when he sticks his glove out, his arm out, and the pitcher can see that there's daylight between his arm and the base, and so the shortstop's basically saying, "I want to do a pick."
Yeah.
So that's how they communicate, and the base runner can't see because he's watching the pitcher.
What does the catcher do?
Catcher usually will what?
They usually are going to indicate that it's coming.
Right.
It's time to go.
Right. Flip their glove. So lots of communication, very important. You got the inside move. You got the
spin move.
Yeah, you got the spin. The jump pivot, spin moves. I mean, all these things are not taught a lot at the Little League level.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were trying to get a jump on this age, this age that you're, or this big diamond that you're transitioning to, you'll do well to, if you're not learning it at practice, to learn it here, ask a coach.
Yeah.
What do I do? Because it's going to come up in a game.
It will.
Yeah. So lots of communication. You're a catcher. You were a catcher.
Yep.
You may catch this summer if you play in the men's league.
We'll see.
Or maybe outfield. But tell us about the communication with catcher and what they need to work on in terms of their defense.
Well, as we talked about with the longer throw down to second, even to first and third, the long throw, the long one hopper plays a big part in catching behind the plate when you first start. The footwork's a lot different too. You don't really get that time down to second to get a 1-2 step that's like out in front of the plate where you step in front.
Right.
It needs to be like 1-2 behind the plate. So that's a big difference in footwork. Back picking becomes a part of the game. Maybe not immediately, but you should know.
You got to show it. You got to try it.
Yes.
We find a lot of catchers, they're afraid to do it because they're not good at it.
Yeah.
What we say is, if you throw it away, don't worry about it. Like,
yeah.
How do you get better? You got to try it. And so of course, you may want to try it early in the game just so the offense knows that you're capable of trying it.
Mm-hmm.
If you throw away 3 in a row, then that might work against you.
Yeah.
But eventually, you're going to get better at it.
Yeah.
Or you're going to move out of catcher.
Controlling the run game. it's something that you need to talk about with your pitcher and your first baseman, with guys on first and second, talking with your middle infielders. Knowing how to keep guys from stealing at will is really important.
What's another way to keep guys from stealing that is little used these days?
The pitch out.
Tell us about the pitch out.
The pitch out is not, I don't think it's used enough. We've talked a little bit about it, about teams don't really like to perform because it gives up that ball, so they're not really adamant about giving up a ball in the count,
Right.
and their pitcher getting frustrated. They have to do that. But this gives an advantage for the catcher. Gives them a better chance to get a bit of a jump on the throw down.
It's true. It also gets inside the opposing coach's head that you may pitch out again, and so he may not steal, except for only his fastest guys, which is really to control the running game. You're not necessarily saying you're going to throw out 50% or more of the guys. It's really preventing just everybody stealing. You don't want your slowest guys.
When it becomes a habit and they can run on any pitcher where they're not taking slide steps and going right off the leg lift.
So that's another thing. Slide steps they have to learn.
Yeah.
Catchers, again, we'll switch over to pitchers and then wrap this thing up. So catchers, so important in the big diamond. Right, the blocking,
fielding bunts, blocking, and recovering.
bunts, blocking, even pop-ups. Think about a catcher in Little League. That backstop in Little League is like 15, 20 feet away.
Not really.
So it bounces
you
back.
Just go get it. Yeah.
Right. Pop-up will get hit at the top of the backstop, whereas in the big diamond, there's so much room and
So much
the
space.
first base side, down the middle.
We used to have the ABC system that we would talk about.
Right. If the ball went up, the pitcher could say A or B
the whole
or
infield,
C.
A,
You could
B,
say
C,
1, 2, 3.
1, 2,
but just so the catcher has some sort of signal if he doesn't know where the ball is, like which side it is. So again, communication. But they have to field pop-ups that they didn't have to field in the Little League field.
Fielding
They have
bunts,
to field
knowing
bunts,
how to, getting around them, and
getting around it. So much. And I know
talking
that
about the cuts. Yeah, it could go on and on.
I know in future episodes when we talk to coaches that we've already had on in previous seasons, and they can tell us what their experience is and what they struggle with, we'll circle back to this. Let's finish up with pitchers. So pitchers got to work the cuts. They have to know to do the jump pivots and the inside moves. They have to know to back up bases, when to back up
Field their
third,
positions.
Field their positions, when field bunts. What else stands out in terms of defense for pitchers?
Backing up, let's see. They're never really involved in pop-ups. Usually they're the last ones to catch a pop-up, but
Right, unless
sometimes
nobody
it's
can get
right
to it.
at them.
Right. We didn't talk about pop-ups in the infield and the outfield and then who has the authority over it. But, that's something that, everybody should know. The shortstop has authority over third base and second base. Second base has authority over first base. First base has authority over the catcher. Outfielders have authority over everybody in the infield. If the outfielder calls for the ball, even if it's the shortstop, get out of the way.
Yeah.
So we mentioned that. But pitchers, defensively, they have to learn to back up bases. We see pitchers watching the ball or trying to get involved in the cut.
Yeah, nobody should be really standing still during a baseball game.
Right. And that
Everybody has somewhere to go.
That can't happen. Wow. I mean, we just flew through so many different things. As you can tell, if you're listening to this,
scenarios.
There's a lot of things that we didn't necessarily talk about. One thing that we skipped in the on the offensive side is knowing your dominant eye.
Oh, right.
So
yeah. And this is important too.
This is important for defense too.
Yeah.
Knowing your dominant eye. Basically, you're making a diamond with two hands. You're picking out a spot a little farther away and putting that spot in the diamond, okay? And then the eye that's open, you close one of the eyes, and the eye that's open where the object doesn't move is your dominant eye, okay? You could also bring it back to you and still keep that object, in view, and you'll always go back to your dominant eye. Your dominant eye is?
I think it was my left one.
Your left one,
yeah.
So
why is that important to know? Oh, sorry.
Well, in hitting, it's very important because if your dominant eye is farther away from the pitcher, it might set up how you hit.
Yeah.
In defense too, if you just in terms of the way you prep step,
yourself,
how you position yourself. So, meant to mention that earlier, but that is important that you know your dominant eye.
Noted.
Okay. So that's defense on the big diamond. We wanted to make sure we got a lot of that out there so people know. Like I said, we'll put something in the description that will help a little bit. Feel free to do what?
Please like, share, subscribe.
And where can they find us?
You can find us all over. We're all over, right?
We're all over, yeah.
YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, just to name a few.
X, we've got a presence on X.
We have a presence on X and TikTok as well.
Right.
So follow all those socials. We appreciate you, and we'll catch you in the next one.
All right, thanks.